Hey guys, it's South African Chris here from New Zealand again, and today we're going to look at top stocks for Tuesday the 8th of December. That's in New Zealand, of course. And you'll notice on the screen I've already got my stock scanner running, a lot more results than yesterday. I did change my minimum ATR to a value of $3, so that could be part of the reason. But anyway, you'll see that we currently found 18 candidates so far from 7,176, and we've got another almost 3,000 to go. So I'm going to drag this down there, this floating window, and let's just have a look at what happened yesterday with the stocks, and that was APPN. Remember, that's the one that I said I'm going to be buying, and I did, and we can see that there has been some profit already. Pfizer continuing to grow, so there's also a profit there, a profit of $1,416. And as I mentioned, I'm going to let that run a little bit until we see what's happening on the 10th of December next week, or maybe by the end of this week. Alrighty then. So while we're scanning through these stocks, I thought I'll just reiterate, what we're trying to achieve here. What I do with my strategy is I set an acceptable loss ratio, so in this case 0.275 of my total cash value, equating to an acceptable loss of more or less $300 per trade. I'm also setting a acceptable win value, which should normally be about 2R, more or less, so R being my acceptable loss, and then my win at more or less 2R. 1.5 to 3 is usually the range that I operate within, and you'll see that's currently set to about $492. I've got a total cash value here at the top, and of course that is thanks to the good month that I had last month. And if we just look at the previous month's portfolio from the 30th of October up until the end of November, you'll see that there were 37 trades, 29 of those were wins, and we've had 8 losses, but still very profitable. $9,500 profit for that month, so that is good. And my strategy, as always, is not always to maximize the profit on each deal. Instead, I set my allowable profit and my allowable losses, and making sure my profit is more than my loss, which means if I win half of them, I still make money because I've got that 2R for the win and 1R for the loss. But as you can see here, our win rate is much better than 50%, so that is good. Let's hope the good streak continues. This is in a bullish market though, so I'm yet to test my theory and my approach using technical indicators solely, together with some algorithmic functions that I've built in using machine learning or deep learning to help me kind of gauge which stocks to buy into. But we'll get to that in a bit once I start running through these stocks. Now while we look at these stocks, you'll see that I list the industry as well, because that's quite the first thing I want to see. I want to see the symbol, I want to see the last close price, not that it really matters, but want to see it. And then very importantly, I do want to see the industry, right? Because there's certain industries that at certain times I don't like getting into. And the way I do that is there's two places. There's finviz.com, and if you go to the website and you just click here on groups, you'll see it'll give you the various sectors, and you can break this further down to industry and blah blah blah. But what you want to look at is the 1 day relative performance, the 1 week, and the 1 month, right? Now you'll see that technology is the top here, communication service second, and consumer, cyclical, and utilities, blah blah blah, for the 1 day relative performance, right? So don't read too much into the 1 day. Look at the 1 week and the 1 month for day trading. I normally run my trades for a day up to a maximum of 10 days if I can afford to. Sometimes I have to let them roll over a bit, but I'd like to close a deal within 1 to 3 days ideally. If it goes above 3 days to about 10 days, it's not ideal, but it happens sometimes, and above 10 days is not good. Because I need a lot of trades, and I've only got a finite amount of money, so I've got only a finite amount of trades that I can do, right? I also don't push all of my cash into a single trade. I do about 10% of my total cash value or assets that I value that I've got, and I push that into my trades to do position sizing, which I'll talk about later. Anyway, so let's see here. So we've got, for the 1 week and the 1 month, we've got energy at the top, we've got basic materials, technology. You can see what's happening. Healthcare not doing too hot. Healthcare not doing too hot here either. So when I see healthcare as the industry here, for instance, I would be a little bit reluctant to go for them at this stage. I've bent my fingers a few times, so I prefer not to. At Sector Spider, so you can look at the link here at the top, sectorspdr.com. You can use this funds wheel here at the top, and you'll see when you hover over any section of this pie sort of chart here, it will give you this preview on the right hand side where you can see what industry or sector that belongs to. So if we look at energy, for instance, and I click on that, I can then what do I do then? I click on where it says energy, the name, right? When I click on that, it'll give me a view of the S&P 500, the black line there, and then this actual fund and how that's tracking against the S&P 500. So, this will also give you an idea of whether it's performing well or not. Ideally, you want that to be performing better than the S&P 500 if it's a great fund. So let's look at technology, for instance. And in technology, we can see that the purple area represents technology, and the black is the S&P 500. So obviously, this looks like a positive sector or industry to get into. All right, so I'm gonna pause it there and I'll resume once our scan is completed. We've still got about 1,500 odd to go, and then we'll start going through the shortlist items and identify our top stocks for this week, or the next day, I should say, not the week. There'll be another ones on Wednesday, tomorrow, every day. That's changes on a daily basis. Anyway, let me shut up and I'll get back to you once the scan is completed. Okie dokie, so we're back and we've got 25 stocks on the shortlist. First of all, APPN, we've already traded that one, already making some profit. Let's just have a look at APPN while we're at it. So I'll move this out of the way a little bit. And if I hit here on indicators, we can see that yesterday it was just reaching back to that bottom line on the stochastics, and it's still on an upward trend. Nice big gap, bullish momentum on the MACD, everything going well on the RSI. We can see that heading back towards the top level there, looking good. I'm going to let that run for a while, meaning another day or two, and then review. AWK, Public Utilities. All right, so let's have a look at this one. American Waterworks, give that a second to load. I had a bug with my program yesterday where it didn't load the correct information, technical information for stocks, but I seem to have fixed it now, so touch wood, that's all done and dusted. So we can see a bounce off of this, what is this, the 100 EMA. It's done that before, so let's presume it's doing, it's following a similar pattern again. Now, just looking at the candles, we can see this looks promising. We've got a bullish candle, some resistance there for higher sales. So we've got a high of 151 and we closed at 150, and we've got a low of 148, so that's not too bad. Now, let's look at potential here. So let's assume we get back to this EMA 18 level here, more or less, which would put us somewhere in the range of about $155, $156. So yeah, there is some profit to be made, potentially. It is currently just dipped below that bottom line here in the stochastic, so it's not on its way back up yet to crossover. So if I were considering to trade this one, I'd wait a little bit. There's a crossover on the MACD, but it's not within the past 5 trading days, so I would consider it, although it's a little bit bearish. On the ATR, we can see a little bit of volatility, but not that much. And we can see from the RSI, it's trading below that 50 level again, just in line with what we see in the MACD, a little bit bearish. Not ideal. I'm not gonna keep this one in my watch list because we've got so many options here. So let's look at the next one. What's this Cracker Barrel Old Country Store? I don't live in the US, so no idea what that is. But let's have a look. So what are we on here? Consumer services. Okay, so a little bit chaotic in the past here on the candlestick. We can see here that it's not really touched the bottom of the stochastics yet, but it's done that before and bounced up quite a bit. And let's see what happened when it did that. So at the bottom here we had 129 with the previous time it reached the bottom, and when it hit a high before it started heading downwards, we had what, 145. So from 129 to 145, that's quite a jump. That means we might want to watch this one just based on that. But if I look at the MACD, I see something that worries me, and that is an imminent intersection there. So if we just take this signal line, the red line, and we project that upwards, and we take the blue line and we project that on its current trend, we see that there might be a potential intersection in the next 2 or 3 days. That is not definite science, but we see that it has happened in the past year, not too long ago. So yeah, not for me, this one. Let's see the next one. Coop, I actually looked at this one yesterday. Let's have a look at it again. I can't remember why I removed it. Oh, that's why, because it bounces all the way down here to the SMA 150. The crossover, yeah, it's not very recent. It looked like it's doing what I like to call the duck face, but there's still a bit of a gap. So I guess we can have a look at this one. It's a little bit above that EMA 18. I would have liked it if it was a little bit lower, closer maybe to the EMA 50 or at least to the EMA 18, because what sometimes happens is, you know, if they float, if these candles float above those EMAs for too long, they tend to snap back. So it looks like this is on in that process of snapping back. So it could be, looking at this candle, quite bullish. It could be that we are heading towards an uptrend again. I guess not the best stock in the world at this stage for me, but the RSI doesn't look too bad. I'm going to keep it in the watch list at least, and then we'll see what we end up with and whether it's worth the risk. Healthcare, I said I'm not going to look at, so I'm going to skip that one. Consumer durables, we can have a look at that. What have we got here? Carvanaco. So again, lots of volatility here, bouncing off of this EMA 100 frequently. Very bullish candles here. It's already jumped up quite a bit from the stochastic, so I think it's too late. I wish I saw this one yesterday. I'm not going to keep it on the watch list, no point now. DG, so Dollar General Corporation, let's have a quick look. We've got some bouncing off of the EMA 50, which looks quite good actually. Not turning back up towards the baseline here in the stochastics yet, but I'm assuming that in the next day or so it will. A little bit bearish MACD, slightly bearish RSI. We might keep it on the watch list. Right, so instead of you watching me go through all of these painfully, I'm going to pause, go through them, and then we'll run through the final candidates once I'm done. Okie dokie, so we've got our candidates here. We've got Coupa Software Incorporated, so looking at those indicators there, I think it will be a good deal to get into. Not the most promising I've seen, as I've said, but looking good. So I'm going to head over to my portfolio and I'm going to add a trade. And what this does, when I go long or buying, it will calculate the quantity or do the position sizing automatically for me based on my total amount of cash available. I'm going to hit this button just to give me the most recent price, and it gets that from Yahoo Finance. The information and the pricing that you see there is straight from the exchanges data that the program downloads in the back end, but obviously it doesn't give you the real-time price there. So when I hit this button, it just gives me the latest price, so I work with accurate data. And this is not a trading platform that I'm using, Market Investor Pro. It's something I developed for myself. I'm a software developer, part sort of software developer. I do other stuff too, but I developed this for myself so that I can help plan, analyze, and track my trades and learn from my trades so that I can improve on them going forward and you know, improve my strategy. So I still have to use my trading platform software that I use. I use Ameritrade, TD Ameritrade, and I also use another one called Tiger Trade here in New Zealand, which gives me access to the US stock markets as well as Chinese, Australian, and some European markets, and Hong Kong and so forth and so on. So anyway, I'm gonna definitely do this one. It'll add that as a new trade. It's showing a negative value there just because it doesn't know that the latest price is actually this one. So when I hit current price, it'll just refresh that for me. Anyway, so let's go back. Next one, Dollar General Corporation. Let's see, it's in my watch list, but is it ready to buy? No, not yet. We will wait for that line to come back on the stochastics. So I'm going to mark this one, and let's look at FleetCor Technologies next. Yeah, this one already a little bit late. I should have gotten into this one yesterday. I didn't, because my search criteria searched for an ATR of 5 and above. So today I changed that to 3. My bad. So I'm gonna jump into this one with FleetCor. And although I should have done it yesterday, there's still some potential profit to be made. Let's just get that latest value there. So that's still the same. We'll record this one. There we go. Boom. All right. Infi, whatever corporation. Let's look at the indicators. Good time to get in. Yes. A little bit of a downtrend here on the ATR, but the RSI and the MACD looking okay. Yes, I'm gonna get into this one. So same story. Get that current price. That's all good. Record. Yes, there we go. And let's look at renewable energy. I've been watching this one for quite some time, actually. Although it wasn't in this watch list, it's in one of my other watch lists. We'll continue watching it. It's not at the right time yet for this stochastics data, and a little bit dodgy here on the MACD, but we'll continue to watch this one. You can see there's been some high trending levels on the RSI, so I'm gonna mark this one. And then Whirlpool, everybody knows who that is, so let's have a look at what's happening. We can see here a little bit of a slow rise and a little bit of a slow descent again, and then trending a little bit below this oversold line here, going back to overbought, very quickly back to oversold, like very fast. So this sold off as soon as it hit that high, and you can see that here from the candle as well. But fairly quickly back up again, which means it's got the potential to do the same. Whether it's going to take, a few days, or whether it's going to take a day or two, like the reverse of this downtrend here, we don't know. But it's looking okay. So I do want to make some trades because I lost a week this month due to illness. So I'm going to do this trade as well. And remember, if we see that there's a downturn in profits, my program will warn me, and we stand to lose a few $100s, but we don't stand to lose the entire investment. So we're buying trades of more or less $10,000 per trade, but it doesn't mean you lose the $10,000. It means you lose a very small percentage of that entire investment. So the key here is to do many trades, and by using some of the strategies here, we win more than we lose, and that is how at the end of the month, when we look at the collective, we see that this has been a profitable month so far. $1,925.38 profit, unrealized, so because it's not been closed off yet, and taken profit for this month is $271. I also never go back and say, oh, what if I stuck with Nvidia and I didn't sell at this day for 542 because it's now at 544. You never do that. You buy at a certain price, you reach your target price or your target profit, you take it, or your loss, you take it, you cut it, and you move on, and you stick to your strategy. And that's the key for me, at least, on how I trade. All right, well, that's it. So just to sum that up, for me today, that was Coupa Software Incorporated, FleetCor Technologies, Infi Corporation, and Whirlpool. Those are the ones that I wanted to do. And safe trading, and I wish you all the best. And thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, do all the stuff, and help me grow my following and viewer base so that I can do this more often and more frequently. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers, bye.